All right, welcome back to the SSL Family Dad channel. We are here. I finally got the golf cart running, so we're out in the pasture. This is our biggest pasture. It has about 3 or 4 acres of space in it. It's some of it is open grass, like you see behind me here, and some of it is wooded and brush. And there's a little watering hole type thing that has water in it, you know, 3/4 of the year, but it's dried out now. And so I thought I would go through some of the things changes that we've made to our animal operations here, and some of the plans that we had that I don't know, maybe I can share some things that didn't work out for us and some things that has worked out for us, and talk a little bit about the animals that we have, and maybe what are our favorite animals to have. What is the animals that have been most profitable for us and the easiest to raise, and that we will continue to have some sort of presence here on our farm in the future. And so I'll talk to you guys about that. And also just give you guys an update on our animals here. What do we have, what do we get rid of, and what our focus is going to be in the future here. So the 30-second history and status of our animals. Last year we had over 20 goats. We had a bunch of goats, babies being born. We picked up a mini Jersey cow last year that had a potential to be pregnant. Maple the cow, you've seen in many other videos. We rescued 2 horses from a situation where they were going to possibly be put down, and we wanted to just, you know, give them a nice home. And we had a bunch of pigs. We had a bunch of pigs being born, and they were during the pig attack. Actually, there was a bunch of baby pigs here. And so that is the kind of the history of what we had last year, and this is where we're at this year. We recently got rid of the 2 horses. We found a good home for them. I quickly realized I had planned to saddle break them and train them. The horses just had no place here on the homestead, as I kind of suspected. But we did the right thing. We wanted to get them a home. We gave them a nice home for the year, and then found somebody who has the time and set up to train them properly. I just don't have the stuff to do that. I don't have a round pen here. I was planning on building all these things. Instead, I just have too many projects. I needed to cut my losses with some things, and the horses just right now don't have a place. That doesn't mean that horses aren't a good thing to have on your homestead. If you have the hay and you have the financial ability to have them, and you have the time to spend with them, that's the most important thing. Horses need to be worked with weekly, and really, gain a relationship, gain trust with them, and really teach them properly. And I just didn't have that at this point. So there could be a day when we have a horse again, but at this point they're not part of the sustainable operation here. So we got rid of the horses. We also sold off almost all of our goats. We're down to 2 goats. We have our favorite buck and then an older doe that we're just going to keep as kind of a companion right now. Plans with the goats are we may get more next year. We may get 1 or 2 more. We'll see what happens. And we like being able to have the goat's milk, and the offspring, the babies were profitable for us. So we may do that again here soon. Pigs, we are down to, we have 2 sows. One of them might be pregnant. We're going to wait that out and see, but they'll probably be going off to the processor. And then we have another sow, so we have 3 total, another sow from a different line that is definitely pregnant. And so we're waiting for her piglets here anytime now. We've been thinking that she's going to give birth for like 2 or 3 weeks now. She looks like she's ready. So Maple the cow has also been sold, and she went to a really great homestead. They have a bull, they have a few other cows, they have a much better place and situation for her. It turns out that she was not pregnant, and so we never got the milk or the calf that we had hoped to get out of her. And so it was time to cut our losses with that and get her to a good home. And so she was constantly breaking out of the fences, and I'll talk a little bit about that and why that was happening. But so she has been off to another home. If you want to follow Maple the cow, the homestead that took her is actually, they just started a YouTube channel, and she has appeared in some videos, and I'm sure she will continue to, as hopefully she's bred and has a baby. And so if you want to follow her, I'll put a link in the description to their YouTube channel, and you can check those guys out over there. So here we are. So let's go through the 3 main pastures that we have. I'm going to call one of them a pig pen. Basically, it's a small breeding area for our pigs or for our goats. And then the 2 other pastures we have are larger. This one's the biggest. It's 3 to 4 acres, and then the front one is probably close to like a ½ acre or something like that. So let's check them out, and we'll talk a little bit about pasture rotation. We'll talk a little bit about what animals we have liked the best at the end here. So let's go take a walk around and check out the pastures. So this pasture actually has a lot of overseed and other things from the hay fields, and so you'll see some some alfalfa in here, which is a legume. This is a nitrogen fixer. And then of course, all the manures and stuff like that are starting to break down, so you really can't see any anymore. Now we had, for about 30 days, we had 2 horses, a cow, and the 2 goats out on this 3 to 4 acre pasture, and they clipped it down pretty tight. It was, it's been dry lately too, but this grass has taken a while to recover out here in the sandiest part of this pasture. But as you go in, which will go up to the shadier parts, there's tons of food out here. Now I'm going to do a video talking about what goats like and what they really eat. This is actually not their favorite. They like all of this stuff. They like all the brush. And if you look through here, you can see about their reach all the way across this pasture. Every leaf on every tree is gone. And so that actually helps the grass to grow, get a little sunlight in here, and it's great food for them. So let's go up to the front here and check out the shadier parts. So this is kind of up closer to the house there. You've got the 2 shelters, the pallet shelters that we built. And then we've got Virginia, the pregnant sow, up there in the pig pen or pig yard. And we'll go up there in just a minute. But this is kind of the shadier part. And you can see quite a bit more grass has come back in here. A lot of the areas back there has a good bit of food for those guys. So this 3 or 4 acre pasture for just 2 goats is plenty of space for them to, actually we don't really feed them all summer left out here. This pasture could probably support comfortably probably 8 goats of these dwarf varieties, or even a full variety of goat. And he's gonna knock everything down that I own. And so we could pretty easily put more goats out here and have real good success. There's plenty of food out here for these guys. So every kind of animal eats different things. Cows and goats are fairly similar, but goats are going to eat a lot more of your weeds, thistles, poison ivies. They eat the leaves, they eat the vines, any kind of poison oak or anything like that growing up a tree, that stuff's going to be gone. They're really great at being in a hilly kind of forested area. They are great at clearing out woodland. Again, from about, we have dwarf goats here, but they'll clear out anything from about 4 or 5 feet down to the ground. The same with a cow. They also prefer leaves, and they'll eat all that stuff, but cows do a little bit better at grazing. They'll eat a lot more of just the grass. What we found is the goats generally leave the grass is kind of for last. They pick out and they select out all the weeds and all the weird stuff. And we'll talk about that another time, but the goats are great in this kind of a wooded pasture. So this is the pig yard. I would say, I don't know, maybe this is maybe 50 feet by 60 feet, something like that. It's not quite a square, but that's just an estimate. And this is where we just have the 1 pig right now. So you can see that she actually has access to this pasture right now, and she has access to the front pasture that I'll show you in a minute. But she would do just fine. 1 pig in this size area, you can see all the grass and weeds growing back. She's got actually quite a bit of grass right there, and these American guinea hogs will graze. They'll actually graze really well. If you give them a pasture with, cool shaded areas like this, and this stays wet sometimes, so she really likes that, and that has enough grass in it also, they really don't need anything else. We don't really feed. She's pregnant, so we give her a little bit of grain, but generally I don't feed the pigs on this pasture or this pen for almost the whole entire summer, as long as there's grass in here. So pigs are going to eat everything low to the ground. What a pig does, whether it's the American guinea hog breed or a traditional commercial breed, generally the pigs are going to eat everything low to the ground. So they'll chomp on some grasses, they'll chomp on some weeds and things like that, but they prefer bugs. They prefer the stuff that's right under the surface of the dirt. Once they get done with any grasses and stuff like that, they're going to start to root if the soil is loose enough. If the soil's loose and they run out of grass, they're going to start rooting through there. And there's an amazing amount of food for a pig in that first 3 or 4 inches of the soil. All the little bugs, all the roots from all the plants, roots from trees, they'll even gnaw those things down. And they really get a lot of nutrients out of that subsurface range of the pasture. So if you have goats in the pasture, they're going to eat the stuff highest, and then they'll eat down, and the last thing that they eat is the bottom layer of grass. Pigs are going to start low, and they're going to eat into the soil. They're going to eat down 3 or 4 inches into the soil, and they'll suck a lot of food out of that area. So you can actually rotate these kinds of animals through. What we have done in the past, and kind of the goal is to use the pigs on new pastures. So if you want to clear out a forested area, send the goats in first, let them mow everything down to the ground, high. So you've got a nice clear pasture where the animals can get in and everything, and you still have got some trees in there. And then the pigs, you send them in next, and they'll root that ground all up. And then you can plant it, you can let it recover, let the grass grow or whatever. And then once the grass starts coming back up, you could send in a cow or even a horse or more goats back on it, or sheep or something like that really need the levels of vegetation in there. But pigs are great for preparing soil, they're great for loosening soil, they're great for all those kinds of things in a pasture. But what you don't want to do is have send your pigs out into a pasture early spring when there's not a lot of vegetation, because they're gonna wreck it. they're gonna root that all up, and they're gonna tear that pasture up, and it will stay torn up unless you get them out of there and allow that to recover for about a month, and then you can put other animals back on it. So you gotta be really careful with pigs. If they have enough vegetation, they won't root too much, if at all. But as soon as that vegetation gets low, they're gonna tear that land up, and they will plow it for you, which is handy if you do it right. So we're gonna head up to that front pasture on the other side of the pig pen there, and since I don't have a connecting, we're gonna have to go out here and around and go all the way up to the front of the house there by the road on the driveway. So, all right, so here we are. We're looking at the pig pen now from the other side. So we were just standing out there, and then we've got the pig pen with Virginia laying in her little wallow over there. We make a little hole filled with water for her usually every day. So this was the pasture where the horses were, and the 2 horses out here, obviously this is way too small. This is only, I would say, maybe a ½ acre, 3/4 of an acre, something like that. And this is not anywhere near enough for a horse. Now you could put a horse out here for a couple horses out here for a couple weeks, and then transition them off. But there's not enough grass in here to sustain those horses. The horses alone could eat down a 5-acre pasture, in 30 days or less. So the horses, they eat a lot. But for a couple goats, this is actually perfect, or a couple pigs. If you put 4 pigs in here right now, they will have enough grass growing in here where they won't need to be even really rotated. There's enough in here for them to eat where they won't root. They'll eat through the grasses, and there's plenty. There'll be fat pigs in here, just with this much grass. So this pasture has recovered really well, and is a great pasture to rotate some animals onto. So this front pasture here is going to be used for 2 of our pigs. We're going to be moving them up. Now what I like to do with our pigs when we raise them out, they get fed grain through the winter times. They get fed hay too, but it's about a 50-50 for their diet. They're going to be eating a lot more grain than I like. So usually before we get the pigs processed, the goal is to get them out on a pasture for about 30 to 60 days so that they can eat all of this stuff for a few months before they go in to be processed. That gives them a much healthier, they're going to be a much healthier animal. They're going to be much healthier for you to eat, and in my opinion, the meat is better with pigs that way. So they actually get fattened up quite a bit, these American guinea hogs do, on just grass. So we won't feed them any grain. They'll get fattened up on this grass, and they'll be ready to butcher hopefully early fall for us. So here we are in the chicken pen, and if you can find the chickens in here, you win. This is my favorite place that we've ever had chickens. It is, there's vines on this thing. It's got all these bushes in here. They don't really eat any of this stuff, but it's great little shelter for them during the day. I mean, you got all these little spots in here. Oh, there's one. And they've got some of these open areas. I dump wood chips in here as well, and let them scratch through that. This is a really great area for chickens. So this is what I call, the homestead flock. This is just like, we usually have between 6 and 9 chickens with a rooster. This is our breeding flock. This is the one that we use to kind of, breed out more chickens every year. And this is also the area that we just keep these chickens for our own consumption of eggs. We also have 24 chickens out in the barnyard that are for meat, that they'll be used for meat, and to replenish some of these guys as they get older. And so we always have a constant rotation of chickens going on. But chickens are great at several things. So chickens can be put into any pasture with any animal at any time. They're a great animal to just put anywhere. They do great out on pasture. They do great in yards about, you know, like this size. With 4 chickens in here, if we had probably 4 or 5, maybe 6 or less chickens in here, they actually get most of their nutrients from this area alone. But of course, letting them free range around the yard and other things like that allows them to get almost everything they need. We barely would need to feed them any grains or anything like that if they have ground to range on. They are great at sterilizing your pasture. So they're going to eat all the bugs, the larvae, the flies, they actually scratch through the manures of the larger animals and get all that stuff cleared out of there. They help to spread stuff out. They help to renew the ground. They'll eat grasses, they'll eat leaves, they'll eat weeds, they'll eat just everything. And they don't need much care. All they need is some protection. If they have cover like this during the day, you're not going to have any trouble with owls or hawks or anything like that. And as long as they go into a coop that is secure at night, you're not going to have trouble with coyotes or foxes or raccoons or possums or anything like that. So really, chickens belong everywhere. In fact, I wish I had a coop in every pasture with chickens out there. They're just a great pasture maintaining animal, and they're great for you as well. Eggs, meat, and they do a lot of work around the pastures. So with all that being said, what is the best animal to have on your home? So what's the first animal that you should consider? Well, I can't really answer that question 100% for you, but I can tell you here in Michigan, northern climates and things like that, so far our favorite animals have been number one, and always have been since the very beginning, has always been the chicken. Chickens are the easiest animals to care for at any scale, honestly. You can scale up and have 50, 100 chickens, and it doesn't really take much more energy than having, 10 chickens. You just give them water, you give them feed, they open access to that stuff. If you give them a big enough area to be in, they're easy to contain, they're easy to house, and so chickens are by far the easiest, but they're also the lowest profit. If you're looking to sell eggs or sell meat or anything like that, there's a very low profit, if any, in that business. Chickens are by far number one. Now, close second has been the goats. The goats have been also another easy animal to raise. They have they're dwarf varieties, so they're very small. They have very low feed requirements. They don't decimate pastures because they eat such a variety of things. They don't mow the grass down really short. They eat the weeds that grow taller and other things. They're very picky at what they like. They will eat grass down if that's all they have, but they prefer other things first. And so the grass is the last to go. So they don't decimate pastures as much as a horse would. You put a horse on a pasture, they will eat the grass down to the roots showing. Same with a cow. They can really get that stuff mowed down short. So goats have been are one of our most profitable animals, if not our most profitable animal, selling off the babies as pets or as breeding stock. They're just easy animals to care for, and good to have on the farm. They give you milk and they sell off the babies, and like I said, we've made the most amount of money or profit on that animal out of any of the animals we've raised. Hopefully that helped you. If you're looking to start a homestead or just thinking about different kinds of animals, the only animals we haven't really tried are sheep, and maybe like some of the odder things like alpacas or reindeer or raising camels or something like that. As far as like production animals or something like that, I want to try sheep at some point, and so that's something that we may think about. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but I would love to try sheep sometime. Let me know what you think. What's your favorite homestead animal? What do you think people should start with? What do you think, go together as companions? What is the thing that you should focus on? So let me know what you guys think down in the comments, and let others know as well. Hopefully you guys enjoy a little tour of the pastures and check up on our animals here. There'll be more to come on those things. We'll keep you guys up to date on the new piglets and other things like that. And so look for those videos coming out soon. Don't forget to hit thumbs up on this video and every other SSL Family Dad video. Share the videos with friends and family. And of course, we'd love to have you subscribe if this is your first time here. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell so you get notified with new videos, and we'd love to have you tag along. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Have a good one.